seen it that has been a grace ban on the side of Attrition, who are on the left-hand side for this first game in the best of three series. I'm expecting an obvious Varia ban coming out from Knights of Phoenix in their first pick. She's broken right now. Do you expect the same?
Yeah, like you said, Varia is very broken this patch. I agree.
Yeah, so, Varia seems like the ideal. Now, if they do let Varia go, I'd find that very crazy. But look, as we do wait for Knights of Phoenix pick, yes, they do ban out the Varia. That makes sense. It does leave Attrition open to picking up the likes of the Blackfeather, Ringo, even something like a strong captain, Charmwalker, Arden. If it was you, what would you go for, Dunkmaster?
First pick, Blackfeather. Easy flex pick.
That's a really good point to bring up. Very strong flex pick right now between the jungle and lane. Gives a good bit of unpredictability. But they do go for the Churn Walker first pick. They must believe in this Churn Walker. He's a very strong hero. Can be exposed weakness-wise to a heavy front line. But by banning the Grace away, you actually take away at least one of the captain counters that potentially hits Churnwalker. So the first pick of Knights of Phoenix, Ringo, Blackfeather, it's got to be between one of these two.
I'd honestly say Blackfeather going CP, he's easily able to kind of negate Churnwalker's effects.
Yeah, that's a really good point with the crystal power Blackfeather. Does negate some form of some form of Churnwalker's strengths, and also you have the likes of the Rose offensive that can go out of the hook and chains, and if timed, I can even get away from the trespass. And as you said, he's a very strong flex pick. So Knights of Phoenix are taking their time, and that can actually play good psychologically to their strengths, because Attrition are kind of sitting there, kind of waiting to pick their next ban, and Knights of Phoenix are taking their time, so they're kind of feeling this out, maybe drawing a little bit of sweat out of Attrition's draft, making them feel a little bit maybe insecure about certain strategy they might be going for, because the mental game of Vainglory is very important, Dunkmaster.
Yeah, that's very true. And if they go for CP Blackfeather and A-Side goes for that classic Rona Churnwalker, yet again, CP Blackfeather can easily counter that Rona.
That is very true, but we have yet to see the ban coming out from Knights. I don't know if there's a small issue in their draft. We would kind of wait to find out if there's any kind of issues. The draft hasn't continued any further. Maybe they are just making us that little bit more excited, Dunkmaster, that little bit more hyped, kind of stressing out a little bit. They're kind of raising the temperature of this game that we have in front of us. And yeah, as we are waiting, you mentioned the Blackfeather, but who else would you like to see? Let's say an off-meta hero, Dunkmaster. Who would you like to see that's necessarily not outright in the meta in this current 2.12 patch?
Honestly, Petal with Dragon's Eye is very strong, and also Alpha has been seen a lot more, and she's also a very strong hero.
The Petal is interesting, yeah, because in Crystal Power has actually fallen off, which a slight bit of a surprise considering how strong Dragon's Eye is as an item. And we do see that Ringo is picked up by Knights of Phoenix as their first pick. They left us waiting, Dunkmaster. They just left us waiting. It's like they just wanted to hype this up a little bit more. And now it comes to their second ban. It's got to be the Blackfeather. It only makes sense. Taking away that super strong carry, flex carry at that can, potentially really get onto this Ringo. It only makes sense, right?
Oh, I don't know. They could always ban something like an Alpha that can, kind of have a potential to be stronger than the Blackfeather, and always take the Blackfeather since they do have the next pick.
That is a really good point. They do go for a Taka ban, which is interesting because Taka can and does counter Ringo, even though Ringo is very strong in the meta. It puts a lot of pressure on the Ringo to be aware, puts a lot of pressure on your team when you have Ringo on your side, when you're against Ataka, and Attrition go for the Black Feather ban. Very wise coming out from them, I feel, Dunkmaster, because you take away that strong flex pick that would have very potentially gone on to the side of Knights of Phoenix, because One thing I want to mention before Knights of Phoenix pick their second pickup for this match, Ringo is very much possibly flexed into CP and can be very strong. But Knights do pick up Arden on their second pick. We're waiting for Attrition to pick up their second and last pick. Do you believe in the CP Ringo power?
Yeah, I've heard about it, and especially with Eva Harvest and and Clockwork, he could definitely spam his A and his A slow, so he could do a lot of damage on the CP Ringo.
Yes, he can. So Attrition pick up Rona and Batiste as our last two heroes. Batiste, I've seen a lot in the NACL so far. Some of it being very successful and very on top of the enemy team, but I've also seen some quite weak Batiste coming out from teams where they've just gotten snowballed very heavily, gotten shut down between the early game. On the last pick of Knights, what would you pick to kind of counter the Batiste and Rona?
I I'd honestly have to say a rhyme, but after I seen that CC comp, I'm not so sure about the rhyme. Maybe like a CP Sky, use her range and be able to kite around enemies' aggression.
It's funny you say that because they picked their last pick as Sky. And Sky is very mobile. She provides a lot of movement, can kind of go in and out of the enemy team. Yes, potentially can be stunned by both the Trespass and the Ordain. That will require a lot of synergy between the Arden and the Sky. I've gotta say that Sky is a good counter to the Rona. What do you think of the two comps that have been picked out, Dunkmaster? As just a repeat, it is Churwalker, Rona, Batiste for Attrition, and Ringo, Arden, and Sky for Knights.
As long as A side can land perfect ordains, the red mist into trespasses. A side is gonna be really strong. Touch base on the Ringo Arden. With the Sky, like I was saying, Sky could get Frostburn, kite away from, A side's team, kind of slow them. Same thing with Ringo with his A. And Arden is actually a great peel against Turnwalker, having the Vanguards and being able to lay down a gauntlet properly.
Yeah, that's one thing that I really think plays to Knight's strength is that they are very mobile as a comp, and Arden complements both Ringo and Sky pretty well because that's one thing that I think is very overlooked in Vainglory right now in terms of how much of a difference your team can make if you have a captain that complements both your carry and your jungler. If you don't, I feel your team it has a big chink in your armor. So, that strong synergistic comp that's coming out of Knights, I think has a potential to get the better of Attrition, Dunkmaster.
Yeah, that's true. If I honestly was to tell you a side that I'd have to say to win after yesterday, I'd have to go with the CC lock of Turnwalker, Rona Baptiste.
Okay, I'm actually gonna go for Knights. But on that note, we obviously have picked two different teams and chat, come on, get that hype in this chat. Put your hashtag of attrition or hashtag Knights on who you want to see win this first game in the best of 3 series. I want to see it. I want to feel it because I'm feeling it and I want to see it from you guys. The players are feeling it. The players are looking forward to it. And I do apologize. We have a small issue with just trying to get this game going between the party. We will look to get it up as quickly as possible for these two teams. Dunkmaster, as we're waiting just to kind of get into this match, they're keeping us waiting. They're hyping us up. They're just kind of making us that little bit more and more impatient. Talk about the Churnwalker and Batiste combo for me. How well do you think that's going to play to Attrition's game plan?
Well, what's going to happen is if they can land the hook and chains with the Churnwalker, and you get excellent bad mojos off the Baptiste, that's so much damage already from a Baptiste after he buys first item Clockwork. It's just the AoE from the Churn. It's going to be very hectic for B-side here in this game.
It is, and that's, I think Crucible is going to be a priority pickup coming out from the Iron, obviously straight after the Fountain. But then I think he's gonna want to pick up something like a Metal Jacket or even an Echo third item or War Threads, which I think is going to be very important. Even though there's a lot of mobility coming out from Knight's Comp Dunkmaster, you cannot deny how strong the War Threads is in disengaging or even re-engaging onto the enemy team.
Oh yeah, and yeah, that's true, and especially with a dive melee comp such as Team Attritions, I would definitely actually like to see two War Treads if able, one on the carry and one on the Arden.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of, I want to talk about Knights comp in terms of they have double range, which I do think can very heavily play to their advantage in terms of being able to kite back a little bit nicely. The forward barrage that's going to come out from Sky is going to be really important, especially as I'd expect a Dragon's Eye first item pickup coming out from the Sky. Would you agree with that? Or you mentioned the Frostburn. Do you think Frostburn would be a better first item pickup or Dragon's Eye Dunkmaster?
Honestly, it depends on if they're trying to scale or look for a quick bursty team fight. And honestly, with a team comp that can also sustain as much as lock you down, I'd honestly love to see it, like either an Eva Harvest or Frostburn first to kind of negate the pressure they're gonna get from attrition.
Oh, Eve is an interesting item. Will provide that good bit of healing, the sustain, but we've seen a lot of Skies pick up the Dragon's Eye first item. Personally, I'm gonna go for that's gonna be the obvious choice. Dragon's Eye Clockwork. Hey, look, we will find out, of course, as we are about to get into this game. Apologies, guys in chat. I know you're all hyped up. I want to feel that hype even more as I'm just casting in the rain like a boss outside. I don't care because I'm ready for this match between Attrition and Knights. Feel it for me. Put it in the chat. Hashtag Knights. Hashtag Attrition on who you want to see win this first game. Again, I do apologize, but Dunkmaster, this Ringo build, this Ringo pickup, the strong build on Ringo right now does seem to be the Spell Sword Double Tyrant. But do you think we could see something like a Poison Sheath or maybe even a Breaking Point built into the Ringo's kit for this match?
Honestly, yeah. If they have armor, a definitely Breaking Point. If they kind of don't really focus the Ringo as much as they should, definitely a Poison Shiv. Negate that healing that they have. Negate that self-sustain.
That's what I was thinking because Churnwalker provides that AoE both damage and heal based on the more people that he has hooked onto those chains. A Poison Shift could be a nugget of gold in the Ringo's build for this match. Let's talk about this Batiste a little bit. As I said, Batiste I found has been picked up quite regularly in the NACL so far. I mentioned that I've seen some very strong Batiste that have just really ruled the Halcyon Fold on the matches that he's been playing, but I've also seen some very weak Batiste. What do you think is going to be the difference maker in this Batiste pickup that's going to make it turn the game around for Attrition?
Honestly, that Baptiste will make the difference here as long as he's able to land the Ordains and apply as much pressure with Bad Mojo off that Clockwork. That's mainly the reason I'm going for Attrition. It's just because that AoE along with the Churnwalker's futility of life perk is going to do so much work here in this game.
Yeah, and would you the only thing that I fear coming out from see what I did there with the fearsome shade. Anyway, the only thing that I in some way fear about Attrition's comp Dunkmaster is that yes, Rona is very strong and very powerful, and only kind of really needs 2 damage items and then a heavy, a good kit of defense. But compared to the likes of Knight's comp, where they have a ringer that's going to provide a lot of burst damage. Do you think that that's kind of going to go against Attrition? Because, the Batiste is very much a hero that's going to ramp up a little bit in these team fights, is going to take a little bit of time during the engagement. It might go against, same with the Rona, it might go against Attrition because you're going to have the heavy burst, I feel, coming out from Knights between the Sky and the Ringo, that, they might just be put back behind the turret a little bit too much, lose the lane, lose the jungle, and then finally we are getting into this game somewhat. I do hope that this is going to be it, as far as we will be on the Halcyon Fold as soon as possible. Dunkmaster, tell me, are you hyped, mate? Are you hyped? Are you ready for this game? I think he's so hyped that he's gone quiet. He's speechless with the hype. Luckily, I'm not, because I express my hypeness with volume, with loudness, with just hype words, like hype, should I say. But again, you guys in the chat, get it out there, put it on the chat, put it on the channel, who you want to see, tweet about it, tell your mother, tell your father, tell your granddad, phone up your next door neighbor and say, hi, I'm watching some awesome NACL action and I want to see this team win. Just go up to a dog and tell a dog, I want to see this team win in the NACL, because this is what we want to see as we are loaded into this fold for the first match of this game between Attrition on the left-hand side and Knight on the right-hand side. Coming up to this first rotation, Dunkmaster, expect standard kind of rotations with the carry and the jungler going for the backs and then look to maybe fight over the mid-century. So that's why I would expect that myself, to be honest, because it's most likely going to happen between these two teams. As we kind of go into this match, we are seeing the standard rotation coming out from these two teams. The Churnwalker just staying in the mid bush, and with Work and Creto going for the mid-century. Let's see who gets better rotations coming out from the mid-century point between these two teams. Again, Attrition on the left-hand side and Knights on the right-hand side for the first game. Only time will tell between these two teams. The mid-century has gone over to Attrition on this first game. So this is kind of a little bit passive on the side of Knights, and it's going to be interesting on see what's going to happen. So yeah, tell me, Dunkmaster, are you with us right now? He's dropped. I do apologize about that, guys. Dunkmaster seemed to drop, maybe just got a little bit too high for this game. But I'm going to carry forward, as you do see this early aggression coming out from the Ringo and the Arden. What I love about Arden is he provides that blood for blood damage, which is able to get onto the enemy hero. And we see Churnwalker is exposed a little bit as the format goes on to Churnwalker. Churnwalker gets the first kill Churnwalker gets killed first by the Sky with that forward barrage. We are seeing that strong early game damage coming out from Knights, and Batiste does rotate up, get that Bad Mojo and the Ordained onto the Sky, make the Sky just kind of go back into the mid jungle. Is Batiste gonna follow? It's gonna be interesting, but no, Sky is just not even gonna focus on the mid-century, gonna play it safe. She did the right thing by rotating up, getting that first blood, an extra 400 gold onto the side of Knight. This is going to be an interesting game. A little bit passive, but quite structured rotation coming out from Knights that is playing to their strengths. As we see, Acer is on this Ringo with 20 CS. Waste is, on this Rona, jumping on into the fray just to try and create a little bit of pressure. I like this mini candy, weapon blade. Not the standard double weapon blade first two items from a Ringo, so he's kind of playing it safe. I like this passive just to make sure that the Ringo and the Sky can farm up, get their items, their first couple of items really safely, not jumped on too much between the Batiste and the Rona. So guys in chat, as I said, put it out there. Put hashtag attrition, hashtag Knights on who you want to see. Put anything attrition. Put I love attrition. Put I love Knights, because that is what we want to see. This is what the teams want to see. They want to see the support in this NACL from anybody that's watching, because this is really important stuff for them. They can learn a lot. They can kind of gain a lot of experience playing against each other, playing against better teams, even playing against weaker teams. As you do see, Acer is going to get caught out by the hook and chains, but no, it's going to take too much damage. It's going to be standard stuff coming out as the Arden rotates up into the lane with just to help out Acer, just to make sure that he can farm up. Acer is on 30 CS right now. The Rona is on 40. There's not much goal difference between these two teams. What is interesting, even though the first blood went over to Knights, Attrition is ahead in the goals. Just says a little bit about these two teams. The Rona has farmed up. Sky comes up to the forward barrage just to create a little bit of distance for Knights to kind of bit of safety, so they can farm up nicely. The hook and chains come out onto the Ringo, but now, Ringo just come out with that basic attack. That crit damage coming out from his perk is going to make a difference, as both Turnwalk and Rona stay behind the turret just into a little bit of safety. As Batista come out, does the Ordained Bad Mojo is going to do that burst damage, but no, the fantastic Vanguard coming out from Arden just to kind of try and save the Ringo. Sky automatically goes into turn. Look how low that turn is, and this is a Sky that hasn't even got a first item, guys, and she's already doing this enormous damage. That's really good stuff. It's going to tell a lot, but full credit to Waste on this Rona, sticking to her farm schedule, just making sure that she is fed very nicely. Blood for blood comes onto the Rona, and Rona does go into the fray, out of the fray, into safety, and is going to be able to pour back with 2, but no, with the basic attack does stop Rona from pouring. That's going to be so good stuff. And Hellfire Brute does come out again. Not just does damage onto Rona, but stops the Rona from porting back. Really clever stuff coming out for Knights. It means that now the lane is pushed and Rona can't come back. And now we see the Ringo. The Ringo's on Spell Sword, essentially half an item ahead of the Rona, and that's going to be important because we should like to see the rotation come out from Sky. The Rona ports back. If the Sky can come up, put a good bit of pressure onto this enemy team, we will see what is going to happen. So yeah, we do see this little bit of a strong play coming out from Ringo with that Spell Sword first item. We have Arden does have a fountain as well. We have the Batiste hasn't gone to shop yet. Has 1,400 gold in his pocket, so that is going to be interesting. As we do see go into jungle, we see a great rotation coming out from Batiste. Batiste gets a kill onto the Ringo, and just a lay fountain coming out from Arden does not help stop with the Ordained coming out. And now Rona does go into Arden. Another kill onto the side of Attrition, as you do see the Sky going into safety, into fray to try and counter Sky, but no, just going to kind of farm up with the Rona. And now we see Sky, it's going on to Turnwalker, just kind of create that little bit of pressure. The Sky does have Dragon's Blood. I said it would be Dragon's Blood first. Dragon's Eye, should I say? My humble apologies. Dragon Blood is a contract. Dragon's Eye, first item pick up from the Sky. Ringo's now just going to be careful with his position, because that's really important. You cannot let yourself get exposed when you are Ringo, because you're going to get caught out between the Trespass, between the Torment, and then also just between the Batiste and the Ordained. It's going to be really important. Basic attacks coming out by Acer onto the Charmwalker, as we do see the lane is pushed. And again, the goal difference is slightly in the favor of Attrition. I do see Rona is caught out in the enemy jungle. Hellfire Brew goes onto the Batiste. I'm surprised that didn't go onto the Charmwalker. Fearsome Shade does fear out all of the side of Knights, as you do see Vanguard coming out. And a fountain coming out from Ghosted, even though Sky poured it back. I don't know if that was the most clever fountain that came out from Ghost, because it hasn't led to any kind of game advantage. And now that fountain is going to be down for at least another 40 seconds. I don't know if Attrition saw it, but if they did, they're gonna have to be able to take advantage of it and engage on the fight, because the Batiste has both his fountain and, more importantly, the crucible. So we do see, as we see into the fray going on to Ringo, but no, the Ringo basic attacks with the kiting does help keep him in safety, with the Arden staying close by his side, having the Vanguard available in about 3 seconds, just so if it is needed. And now the Bloodful goes on to Turnwalker. That front but does stun up the Turnwalker. Now Turnwalker is low, but now they've got to be careful because the Rona and the Batiste are in there. The Batiste is there, but the Sky does get Vanguarded into safety, and he's just going to go back behind the turret. This is very close. Long Gator Gauntlet comes out, stuns 2 of Attrition, and Fierce the Shade does come out, but he's quite blocked on the side of Knight, and now the Batiste with the stun, with the Fierce the Shade, with the Bad Mojo is absolutely monstrous on the side of Attrition. Hellfire Brew onto Turnwalker. Turnwalker is very low ordained. Bad Mojo does catch out Sky. Now it is going to catch out the Arnan, catches out the Ringo as Attrition get the first ace in 9.5 minutes, and that will mean that they should look to get a turret push, get this first turret, maybe even a gold mine. Maybe they just don't have quite enough cooldown coming out from their side. So yeah, sorry, the timers, the death timers should I say, just isn't there where they're able to secure 2 objectives. But that's the first turret going down on the side of Knight, and it gives Attrition a lot of map freedom for their team, which is really important in this game, because it means that the rotations coming out from Knights are going to have to be a little bit more careful. We see vision coming out from Arden. I do humbly apologise. Following down to Sky. Good scout traps coming out. Good stuff. It's a nice response. It means that there's a slight less chance that they're going to get caught out by either the hook and trains going into the Trespasser or Torment, or they're less likely going to be caught out by Into the Fray, followed by the Ordained. So really good stuff by both teams. Nice response. As you see, that one does reposition, then goes on to Turnwalker, but now the Turnwalker is low and the fountain comes out. Fierce the Shade is not blocked, just unfortunately Hellfire Brew onto Batiste does make the Batiste poor go back a little bit, and we do see the Vanguard onto the Ringo. Sorry Strike, just try and reposition. Now Turnwalker is in the middle of the fight, Blood comes out, doesn't really do anything, but now it is under a little bit of pressure for Attrition as the death from above, and followed by the forward brash does chunk a lot of damage onto the side of Attrition. I do apologize, my talking just get a little bit elongated. The red mist comes out and takes out the Batiste, but no, the Ringo did take out the Rona just before he went down. So that's 1 kill on each side, as Batiste is going to have to be a little bit careful. Vanguard does come out. Sorry Strike does reposition the Sky as he does look to take this damage, but the Ordain comes out. It is blocked by the Sky. Fantastic block, as you do see the stacks being built up. 12 stacks on the Sky. It does take out the Turnwalker, but now the Batiste takes out the Sky. So that's a little bit of a messy, long fight engagement coming out for both teams. No real advantage on either. I would say Knights did have the overall advantage, but because they couldn't shut down Attrition, it got to the point where it wasn't really going to do anything. But the lane is pushing out. Ringo and Arden are there, and now the Rona does go back with the Batiste. But now, yes, the Ringo is wise. Ordain coming out onto the Arden, makes attack, Vanguard onto Ringo just to make sure. But no, Red Mist does take out the Arden. Ordained, fantastic rotations coming out from Attrition. But where is the Sky? The Sky is nowhere to be seen. Must be some form of lack of communication or lack of rotations coming out for Knights, and it is giving Attrition more room to take objectives, increase their goal lead, and increase their map control in this first game of a best of 5 series. So we do see the gold mine being taken. Death from above into the fray, goes onto the Sky, but now Sky is just going to kite back with the forward barrage. Sword Strikes out of the way. I'm surprised Attrition just didn't secure the gold mine. If the Rona had gone with the rest of his team for the gold mine, they could have very well secured it, because I don't think Knights would have risked trying to steal it. Plus they don't really have a heavy objective stealer like, let's say, Celeste, Kestrel, or something like a Koshka or Ataka So that was not the best. They let themselves get distracted, and they lost 300 gold, or not, no, 1200 gold that potentially could have been taken. But we'll see what Knights are going to now follow up. They are all three rotated up. Players come out just to spot out all of Attrition. Hellfire Brew does go out onto Batiste, is blocked. So as a block come down, it does mean that if the Gauntlet comes out, it could be potentially good for locking down the Batiste. But now Sorry Strike does resist. Ordain does stun out the sky. As the death from above, the Fearsome Shade is not quite blocked. The Gauntlet is still available onto the Arden, and now we do see Fountain does come out on the side of both Attrition and Fantastic Gauntlet does try and help stun out the Batiste, but now Sky is going to have to be careful going for that healing sentry. The turret is kind of slightly pushed on the side of Knight, as we do see Batiste is just kind of really helping to somewhat shut down the Sky, make him pour back. And you see Fantastic interfering to the base attack onto the Ringo does take it down. Oh, it's a fantastic first attack on the double triple kill on the side of the road. Attrition get another ace in this NACL action match between Attrition and Knight. Fantastic ace coming out from this team. They are going to take a two-turret push. A two-turret push, guys. Absolutely fantastic. Perfect advantage taking from an ace. They could even, if they really wanted to, they could follow up with the goal line, but no, they're going to port back, play it safe, get their items up, just kind of re-evaluate what happened. The fact that they go into the next team fight engagement. And these fights are kind of happening the opposite than I thought they would. I thought, Knights were going to kind of burst down Attrition, but I feel it's actually been the other way around. I feel like Attrition have just kind of really gotten a stronghold of this match, bursted down the relevant heroes. I think part of it comes down to the focus. Churnwalker has been a strong focus for Sky, which is great for building up Dragon's Eye stacks. As you see, another engagement, Sorry Strike just helped to get away from the Rona into Fred. Because he just trying to get in the middle of the pack. Red Mist comes out, does a heavy damage onto Ringo, and Ringo's going to be shut down low. Flames will come out from under, save great fighting back. Safety Gauntlet comes out, but no, the Hellfire from Hell's Heart does go on. Hellfire Brew, should I say, but does not stop the Rona getting the kill. And the double kill this Rona is unbeatable, guys. Absolutely unbeatable. As you do see, the Arden is just running away, trying to make sure he is safe. Vanguards himself just caused a good bit of a distraction, a time delay. Stops an ace coming out. Now the Kraken is up, guys. 15 minutes, 14 kills to 5 on the side of Attrition. They do have a massive, nearly 7k gold lead, guys. 7k gold lead. Good vision though coming out for Knights. They will spot the Kraken being taken. They're not even going to go for Kraken, or are they just kind of playing with their food? Are they just playing it safe? They don't feel they can take it, so they're just going to try and take the enemy jungle. I'm surprised Sentry wasn't going to come down. Hellfire Brew does go onto Batiste. Why isn't it going on Rona? Crucible does block any kind of negated damage, and into Frey goes into Red Mist. Fearsome Shade is blocked, but doesn't stop the ring going down to the Batiste. Red Mist do fantastic damage onto the yard. Just help build up those breaking point stacks with the Shiver Steel, just help slow them down, but now there's nothing else. It's going to be 3-on-1 with the Sky. Nothing the Sky can do. Not even kite back. Double kill again coming out from the Rona. Rona has been unstoppable. Absolutely full credit to Waste in this first match. Crystal Sentry defeated. The lane minions are bearing down on this last turret before the Vayne. I think this is going to be first game closed out in under 18 minutes on the side of Attrition. Definitely they took a full stronghold of this match. We're seeing another strong Batiste. Really good stuff. Absolutely fantastic coming out from Attrition. So first game, Attrition won 1-0. We are going to see these builds that are coming out from those heroes. I can just kind of break that down a little bit more for you guys. Churnwalker played, yes. So, yeah, we are going to be able to kind of break down those builds a little bit further. Churnwalker played a perfect build by getting the War Threads Fountain Crucible, and then the Atlas was able just to kind of just slightly help shut down the Ringo, as Ringo did go for a spell sword, shiv, and breaking point. I mentioned that, but maybe that wasn't enough. Burst, it just wasn't doing enough to Batiste, because I kind of felt that Batiste should have been the focus on the Ringo. Sky was doing a great job with the Dragon's Eye building up the stacks onto Churnwalker, but the focus was lost after that in the team fight. Was shut down by a strong front line Batiste, who had really good items on Dragon's Eye, Clockwork, and Broken Myth. And I have been informed I am joined by Bubble Will for this second match of the series. How are you doing, buddy? No, he's not quite with us yet. Hopefully we will get him into the party soon. But Will, are you with us, buddy?
I'm with you, Imperium.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to hear that beautiful voice, that beautiful accent that is going to be casting with me for that second match. I don't know if you watched that first game on streaming anyway, or if you heard what I was potentially talking about. Do you know any information about what happened in that last game, Bubba Will?
I did. I saw Rona pretty much taking over those team fights and really just putting a hurting onto the other team.
That's, you know what, that's a really good point you mentioned. Putting the hurting onto the enemy team, that's a fantastic way of you know, just summing up that game. Putting the hurting onto the enemy team. I don't think I could have said that better. It felt like they absolutely dominated that game, left, right, and center, and it's going to be surprising what we are going to see comes out from this second game from both teams. Do you expect maybe a safer draft coming out from Knights, or you know, maybe they should go something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more bursty to try and just counter react to attrition?
I expect to see something with a little more crowd control. They didn't really have that aside from Arden in that last match. They had Sky to be able to dance around, but she wasn't able to quite accomplish getting away from the Rona, getting away from the Batiste to avoid the CC that they had.
Yeah, and that's one thing you mentioned, because I said that I've seen Batista being kind of shut down heavily in the game, but I've also seen very strong Batista have taken a stronghold of these games, and that's one Batista took a complete stronghold of this game, and it was absolutely fantastic to see.
Yes, it definitely was. I was only able to catch about the last 10 minutes of that game, and by that point that I had caught it, it seems like Attrition was really starting to snowball, really getting that gold lead on top and just taking a handle of it from that point.
They kind of did, Bulb. The first blood did go over tonight, so they seemed to start strong. The first rotation that came out from the Sky was really good to see, and I thought they were going to kind of continue that, but it felt that once they lost the second two kills, that they didn't seem to recover from that, and because of that, it just meant that they fell further and further behind. Attrition gained that sort of snowball effect that we do see sometimes, and they just essentially dominated from there. But so, you know, going into the second game draft, we are waiting to kind of find out or get a link for this draft. And you know, what would you like to see coming out from these two teams in terms of different comps?
Attrition, to keep what they had going, they're going to need to be able to find some similar CC. Obviously, the other team's going to want to ban away from that and maybe pick up a couple CC heroes himself. You know, whether it be if they let a Churnwalker through, if they let Batiste go through, possibly Arden as a captain to get gauntlets down, blocking out people, singling people out, things like that.
Yeah, and like I mentioned about the picks, but what about bans that are going to come out other than the obvious Varia ban that we can both agree will be banned? Do you think that Knights will look to, let's say, counter ban by taking away either the Batiste or the Rona or even the Churnwalker off Attrition?
I think definitely we're going to see the Churnwalker get banned up now that they've come against it and they see how well they work with it. What I think we're also going to see probably is a possible if they get to ban it for attrition, would be a Lyra due to her CC with the bulwark and then being able to portal in and out of dangerous situations. That way, attrition can either stay on top of them or get out if they're getting in a rough situation.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one hero that is definitely strong, but isn't necessarily completely in the meta right now. Is the Lyra pickup does provide a lot of kind of CC, as you mentioned, a lot of heal. But we are getting into the draft of this second match, ladies and gentlemen. We saw some of a dominating performance coming out from Attrition. They are on the right hand side. We've seen Turnwalker and Varia ban. Turnwalker taken off the table by Knights of Phoenix. Makes sense. But what is their first pick going to be? They've gone for the Black Feather Bulb. Makes sense. How do you think Attrition should follow up? Maybe go for the Rona again?
Rona provides a lot of good chase for Blackfeather. The one thing I do see being good for Knights of Phoenix with that Blackfeather pick is being able to, if they pick up someone like a Batiste, would be getting away from that CC, because that really seemed to be part of their downfall in that last match, was not being able to counter a lot of that crowd control. And with that, that Skye was just getting into situations where she was taking a ton of damage.
Exactly, and you want to make sure that you're not letting your team, use that CC to their advantage. And Lyra comes out by attrition. You talked about this, Lyra. Maybe they listen to you, Bulb. It does make sense. It's a strong first pick, as I said, not necessarily in meta, but it's definitely a strong, stable pick. Going into the second ban by attrition, who do you think? They've gone for the Grace ban, taking away some form of extra heal of Knights of Phoenix. Even though, Grace provides a lot of heals, she is somewhat countered by Lyra because Grace cannot use her benediction to kind of get onto the Lyra once the Bright Bulwark is popped. So what do you make of this ban? Make sense?
It does make sense, and the reason I would agree with that ban is because of the healing she can provide and the damage reduction that she would be able to provide onto Blackfeather in the situation of either a chase to a squishy character. And then we come with the Rona ban, which is, they're not going to get jumped on top of like they were in that last round.
Yeah, exactly. So they've gone for essentially 2 out of the 3 heroes that were picked by attrition are now off the table. So this is going to be an interesting match because it's going to kind of it's going to show if the strength of attrition, if they can carry their comp that they're going to end up with, if they can, let's say, put in another dominating performance that they are showing to us and the rest of the NACL teams that they are able to play different heroes, that their hero pool is very strong, and that it's going to be hard to counter ban this team. So there's going to be really interesting stuff coming out from Attrition. What do you expect their second pick? It comes out with it. Samuel, what do you make of that?
Samuel, I would say, plays fairly well against Blackfeather because he can do splash damage. The only thing I worry about with Samuel against Blackfeather are those on points. It provides a lot of shield, and then obviously the Faint of Heart, being able to chase down the Samuel even when he's going into his Drifting Dark and getting those empowered Malice and Verdicts. It just, Blackfeather is able to provide so much chase. Unless Lyra can stick around with him to keep that Bright Bulwark on top of Samuel, then that Blackfeather is really going to be a problem for him.
It is. That's a really good point. And I talked about in the previous draft how important it is to have heroes that complement or have a captain that complements the rest of your team. Grace complements Blackfeather because she's a dive captain and he's somewhat of a dive hero. That's taken off the table. Would Arden make sense, or maybe even something again off meta as a captain like Lance or Catherine? What do you think is going to be the captain pick coming out from Knights of Phoenix?
For captain pickup of Knights of Phoenix, I'm going to want to see someone who counters Lyra really strong. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a Lance, but it could possibly, it's more than likely going to be an Arden. The only counter that Lyra provides to the Arden is being able to Bright Bulwark when she sees him pop the gauntlet wall. That can block that out, or then even the getting the vanguards onto the teammates.
Exactly. That's something that is really important for the Lyra to implement at the right time, which is going to come down to, a bit of skill, some great timing, a little bit of luck. As the Arden is picked up on last pick for Knight of Phoenix. Last pick goes over to Attrition. I think, well, I was going to say Taka, but you have Samuel that's most likely going to be a CP jungle. Who do you think would be the weapon power carry? We haven't seen Ringo picked up yet. Ringo has been let go all through this draft. Do you think it's going to be the perfect last pick to make a double range comp for Attrition?
I'm figuring Ringo or possibly even a Weapon Sky, because Weapon Sky, although slightly off meta, is very, very maneuverable around the team that they have. Black Feather is able... Oh, my goodness.
That reaction was pretty much what I thought myself, only I didn't vocalize. Fantastic stuff. Like, I've seen some Idrises again in the NACL so far. Most of the time they've been unsuccessful. Idris is a great hero, but he's just not in the meta right now. But Attrition are not afraid to pull this out. They've gotten their first win on the board. They somewhat have this bit of advantage on their side where they can, let's say, afford to take a loss. We are just going to get ready to kind of get into this game. Who do you think has the strongest comp between the two teams, Bob?
Between the two teams, I'm favoring Knights, but seeing the teamwork that Attrition was able to put together, it's going to be really, really crucial to see how their early game goes and see how their exchanges go, to see who really picks up early and if there are possible snowball starts.
Yeah, exactly, and kind of like what I felt we lacked on the side of Knights in the last game was maybe that kind of rotation and the team the team kind of synergy in terms of positioning. If they have something like a Blackfeather, it's going to be CP that's going to somewhat be able to stand his own ground in these team fights. Do you think that will kind of help give a bit of freedom to the Arden to, let's say, protect the Vox a little bit more, help Kite, while the Blackfeather is poking out on what will most likely be a Dragon's Eye, potentially Aftershock first item? And talking about the build as we load into this game, what do you think we are going to see from the CP Blackfeather build?
My bet is it's going to be Aftershock, mainly due to the being able to stay on target with the Faint of Heart, with the Rose Offensive, and then those being able to do the damage, and then he gets the basic attack ins to do the percentage. That would be my bet, would be Aftershock.
It's an item that we've seen a lot more on Blackfeathers in the 2.12 meta. So standard rotation tonight from both teams. I feel, one thing that is obvious, Blackfeather on the CP build is somewhat of a late game hero now, saying that I've seen some really strong early game Blackfeathers. But generally speaking, Blackfeather is a late game hero, Bulb. How do you think that's going to kind of like play out into the side of Knights of Phoenix? They're obviously going to have to be a little bit passive because they don't have a healer on their side like a Lyra, which Lyra is just going to provide so much kind of defense with the Imperial Sigil in this early game.
He's going to have to be cautious for sure there, Imperium. What I'm going to think, though, is that he's going to pick up maybe another crystal bit here, so that way his on points just do a staggering amount of damage early on, because you don't have a whole lot of health on this Idris and or Samuel, and with, maybe 3 crystal bits there, you're going to do a lot of damage, and then for your Vox to be able to move in and kind of clean up where they're at afterwards.
Yeah, and the mid-century has gone over to the side of Knights. That's a good pickup. It doesn't mean that Blackfeather is going to be able to pour back with the Arden rotating up the lane as standard with the Vox, and now it's just going to be standard kind of farming off between the two teams. What I think is great for Idris in this early game, as you do see minion cannons being popped by Knights, is that the Idris has a lot of defense with the Lyra, as you do see the Imperial Sigil just come out with the Blood for Blood, and the basic attacks are shutting this Lyra down and making her pour back or not pour back, but go back into her bush. So that's good stuff going out for Knights. They're being a little bit more aggressive in this early game, Bob.
Which is what they're going to need to gain an advantage over them. One thing I did notice is that Abrupa on the Blackfeather there picked up a little bit of crystal shielding, because he is going to be very, very cautious of that Samuel and getting into these team engages with him there.
Yeah, that's a good pickup. You mentioned another crystal bit, but going for that shield with the kiting that the Samuel has with the Drifting Dark going into the AoE Malice and Verdicts, it's gonna be a good thing for Attrition, for Knights to be able just to kind of like just be a little bit more defensive, use the on points to help create that barrier while also having that shielding against the CP.
Yeah, the CP Samuel versus the Blackfeather. Blackfeather is able to do that kiting, and if he doesn't use the on points to gain that barrier, or if he just misses them in general, then he's going to be able to get in there with those Malice and Verdicts and do a substantial amount of damage, especially going through that Drifting Dark.
Yeah, it is, and kind of pretty standard, lane pressure coming out from both teams. I'm kind of slightly surprised that we're not seeing any rotations from the junglers, but we do see Blackfeather going onto the Samuel now in jungle as he does go into the bush, and Blackfeather seem to have won that somewhat after getting that CP shield, and is just going to be able to just show that he's not afraid to be aggressive in this early stages and cause the Samuel just to kind of rotate up to the bush into safety, then go back, get a little bit of items, and now we do see the Imperial Sigil come out to heal the Idris instantly. Bulb, what do you make of this early game so far? As the Shimmer Strike Chakram does so much damage to this Arden in the early stages.
Yeah, these early engages are going to be really, really crucial for this Vox to get farmed up. If he doesn't get farmed up against this Idris, he's going to be able to get that Chakram, because it can do 2 hits in and out, and then if he dodges across, he can go for another hit. Arden, as you saw, was taking the damage of that, and he has a lot more health than what Vox has.
Yeah, exactly. But the one thing I think that Vox does have on his favor is that kind of like movability and the mobility, because we do see the Vanguard does come out onto the side of Arden with Knights just to help protect that Vox a little bit more. We're going to see just a kind of defensive play, good rotations that came out from Samuel just to kind of cause Knights just to kind of like go back a little bit and just to be a little bit more defensive in this game. But look at that, the Vox is just going aggressive a little bit, using the resonant bounces onto the Lyra, just kind of cause that little bit of aggression. And then we do see that Arden is now coming up from the enemy side, which is really interesting. Doesn't quite have the fountain. Either team doesn't have a fountain. Oh, look at that, stuns both the Vox and the Arden, as you do see Attrition going in with a 3-man rotation. Blackfeather coming out from the back line, is going to look to try and cut out, but not on point, doesn't land. It's just going to have to feint the heart away onto the opposite side. Rosenfencer tries to go into any of the enemy team, but doesn't quite do the damage. Does have Aftershock, so he's going to have that Aftershock strong proc, and he's just going to look to focus some on the injuries. On point doesn't quite land again. So that is, I would say, who do you think kind of, even though nothing was gained or lost by either team, who do you think kind of had the better of that kind of slight engagement, Bull?
Attrition definitely came out on top. Everyone ended with a little bit, or about a quarter, missing health on the side of Knights, and so whenever you can come out with more health than the other team, then your trade-off is way more on top. And what I did notice is that by the end of that exchange, they also had the lane pushed.
Yes, they do, and both, this game has been somewhat passive. As you see, they just go onto the Vox. That Chakram doing amazing damage. Shroud Step just does a lot to kind of create that barrier. Now, do we see a bit of an issue with Acer? A bit of a disconnection meant that he got burst down quite heavily under a turret that was just take no prisoners. Blackfeather does get taken down, does get shot a little bit, but now that does leave the Arden on his own to vanguard himself, and it looks like it's going to be a bit of a good third push that comes out from Attrition, but you can't help but feel a little bit sorry, Bo, because Knight seemed to have a slight bit of lag in this connection that came out from the box.
Yeah, Acer definitely had a connection issue or something there because he was frozen in place for a little bit. So it feels bad, man, for that guy. But what we got to do is focus on moving forward. He knows he's got to get back into it, so he just keeps on doing his farm here. What I did notice was that they just kind of initiated the poke and then stayed on it a little bit. They weren't being too aggressive, and then they all kind of collapsed on him at once. And that was really what led to that turret being taken down.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of good by Attrition to kind of take advantage of that. It's taking on prisoners. All players are responsible for their own connection in the NACL, so it's kind of, got to be in it to win it, and you got to make sure you're disconnected. Look at the Iron taking so much damage with the Drifting Dark going into Mousenberg, so much AoE damage, and the Oblivion does come down just a stun, and now it's going to force back, but the Vox goes down in the process. Now they're going to be able to focus on Blackfeather. Iron able to do nothing. Fountain does come out on point. He's just trying to keep Blackfeather alive, but doesn't stop as the Lyra basic attack is do so much to stop the Arden from being able to defend for his team. And this is going to be another third push with the Drifting Dark going away, just so the Mousenberg is going to be able to do that strong damage while Samuel was able to kind of just go away from this turret. 2 turrets down on the side of Attrition. They have increased their gold lead within 4 minutes by 4k gold. I said it was passive to begin with, but Attrition have just blown up, Bulb.
Yes, they have. Attrition has been sieging those turrets and truly, might I say, laying waste with that Idris. He's been doing the most damage probably out of the 3 of them. And being able to get in, get out of dangerous situations, work around where the Blackfeather is to get to that Vox, and then take care of the Blackfeather when he becomes available.
Exactly, and Knights I think feel a little bit lost. Blackfeather hasn't quite rotated in the best way, I feel, but the lane is pushed now. Lyra's is gonna have to kind of pour back, use the Imperial Residual onto him, but the rest of Attrition have come up 2 lane just to make sure that the turret isn't gonna be in no way pushing those. Force Knights back out. It just goes on with the Shimmer Strike and just go on to Blackfeather, because Blackfeather is just gonna have to be very worried. There's no turret going down. Phantom does come out on the Vox. Vox is just gonna be jumped on onto his Idris. It's just gonna help him. Blocked by Arden, and Arden is just gonna have to go the other way, but it doesn't stop that basic attack going onto the Vox and taking the Vox down. Attrition are just somewhat dominating this game. Knights of Phoenix are doing so much to try and get into this game, but the weaknesses that they have, where the Blackfeather just hasn't quite gotten a grasp of his items and his role, I feel has gone to the strength of Attrition in the first 10 minutes of this map. Bull, what do you think?
Well, if you look at it, Waste here has close to 3 finished items. Oh, he just finished his 3rd, versus Acer here on the Vox has finished only 2 because he had to work more into defense than Waste had to, and with that, they've just gained a significant DPS advantage over the other team.
Yeah, which tells you that maybe Knight should just be a little bit more careful, play passively, wait until they get to this 15-16 minute mark where they get another 1 or 2 items on the belt of both their jungle and the carry, and then maybe possibly they have the chance to take a team fight. Attrition, on the other hand, in my opinion, they're going to want to keep on being aggressive. The gold mine is full. Take the gold mine, increase their gold lead, increase their item lead, and essentially starve out Attrition. It would make sense, and they are doing that. They're going for the gold mine, Bull.
Yeah, and with going for this gold mine, it's basically going to either force them to engage, that way they don't get too far ahead, or it's going to draw them into a team fight, so that way they can either draw another ace, or draw an ace in general, to then push into the base and knock on their doorknobs, so to speak, and get that Vein Crystal.
Yeah, take out the Vein Crystal indeed, but we do see now that a little bit of engage coming out from Attrition. They're just going to look to focus somewhat on the goal side with the Arden. Arden's going to have to pour back under his turret now. They are out of position now. They are going to look to pour back, but has Waste seen Acer? No! Oh, the Vox agent does get to just go back. The Vanguard, fantastic, just to help. And the Oblivion does come out just to stun the Arden. The Arden is nowhere near the enemy team, so the Oblivion doesn't really do much. They're going to take out the Crystal Sentry. There's only one life left on this Crystal Sentry. That shows just how dominant Attrition have been in this game. Boom. Is there really... I don't want to say this game is over, because it's not over, but can Phoenix get back into this?
It's never over till the fat lady sings. They can always overextend. They can always get taken down into really compromising positions and lose out on a team fight, which, as we draw closer to the 15-minute mark, would be a kraken.
Yeah, and we do see the Bright Bulwark come out. Sorry to cut you off there, Bob. We do see this engagement coming out from Attrition. They're focusing on the Arden. The Fountain does come out, but doesn't stop the Arden going down. It's good, taking away the Roamer, the Roamer for the enemy team, and the Vox is going down. Reflex. Sorry, should I say the Healing Flats just come out, just trying to survive, but doesn't have stop the Aegis going on. Then that's going to be an ace for Attrition in this 30-minute mark. 0 kills for Knights of Phoenix, and it feels like this is actually a little bit more dominating with the Crystal Sentry trying to do his job, but they're focused by Attrition to take down these turrets. Bright Bulwark comes down. The Drifting Darks just come out just to try and get the AoE damage. They are going to focus on this main Crystal. This is going to be 14 minutes, 30.5 minute kill. They do take down the Blackfeather now. Blackfeather is just dead, and so is Arden now, but Vox is left on his own. Vox is going to be Oblivion and put to sleep, and there's going to be another ace on the side of Attrition. They are going to take down the Sentry eliminated, Fake Crystal is eliminated, Phoenix are eliminated, and it's game 2 over to Attrition. Bull. That was just a forced accord of fantastic display coming out from Attrition.
Yeah, they really drew him into that team fight by trying to single out the Vox, and then him trying to get away. Arden almost had to sacrifice himself to go save him, which in the end led to the Arden going down, and then it was just kind of a wave of terminating protocols of character after character going down, leading to that ace.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to kind of point out. I saw it in the last game, and I kind of felt it played to Phoenix's weaknesses, where the focus that came out from Attrition on one enemy hero at a time was really impressive. They did it in the first game, and if anything, they did it even better in the second game.